and welcome to 20 Somethings TV. I'm Rachel. I'm here with Nate, Quiggs, and Dan. We have lots to talk about today, especially after a week that will most definitely go down into the history books, at least for the United States. But first, let's chat about an international topic over in Nigeria. There's been a lot of police brutality and unrest in the country of Nigeria, which has led to protests across the country. The actions of a team called the Special Anti-Robbery Squad are what led to these protests, and they've been convicted of extreme torture, killings, and kidnappings. So obviously this is a big deal, and it does seem very interesting that, like, you know, police brutality protests and everything are happening here in the US. So I'm going to ask you guys, how does this compare to what's going on in America? Nate, I'll start with you.
You know, I think America has actually been better than what's going on in Nigeria. You know, every city was boarding up, preparing for unrest after the election, but nothing seemed to really happen with that, which is good. So I think America's actually doing pretty well compared to a country like Nigeria.
I think it's interesting that while the situation in the US, I mean, I'm going to say is definitely better than the police situation in Nigeria. Like, we don't, well, we do have cops openly killing people, I guess, but it's not necessarily condoned by the state, I guess. But it's interesting that the US situation, while it's probably less, is getting way more attention by the press. Well, I mean, this has been going on for a long time in Nigeria, and you don't really hear a lot about it.
Yeah, I think it definitely illustrates that divide in like who has the access to the media, granted who gets control of it. And I mean, the US with their problems and police brutality, I mean, they obviously have a lot more money and resources to actually get all that out there as opposed to Nigeria, which is a country of much more limited resources. And so, I mean, it's also, I mean, you hear some of the stuff that these anti-robbery squads are doing, and it's crazy. It sounds like medieval times almost when they're going through and like going through villages and like killing everything in sight. And it's like it's definitely something that I think should be getting a lot more attention. It's kind of a shame that because of where it is and the lack of money and resources there, that it's not getting the attention it should be.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you guys are saying about like the US gets more attention in terms of police brutality. And I think the reason for that is like growing up, I remember my teachers used to tell me like America's the best. Like everyone looks up to us. We're the role model of the entire world. It's interesting when this quote role model country is like messing up. I think that's why it gets so much attention, which is very interesting. So now that we've talked international, let's hop back to the US and talk about the passing of legendary Jeopardy host Alex Trebek. Nate, could you tell us more about that?
Yes, so Alex Trebek died over the weekend. He was 80 years old. He, of course, hosted Jeopardy for over like 3 decades. And he was dealing with a battle with pancreatic cancer. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He fought it to the very end. He was determined to beat it, but unfortunately, he passed away. So did you guys ever watch Jeopardy at all? And did he leave an impact on your lives at all?
I always wanted to be on Jeopardy. Like, I was, as a kid, always watching Jeopardy. I think there's just something so reliable about it. Like, you turn on the TV at like 7:30, I think it's on. It's either 7 or 7:30. And Alex is there, and he's going to ask these wicked smart people these really hard questions. And it's just like, I don't know. It was like a very steady, reliable thing that it feels so weird that he's gone, that I can't just turn on the TV and like have him make fun of people for not speaking French.
I always felt really smart after I would get an answer correct.
Yeah, big time. It feels so good to get Final Jeopardy right would make my week.
Yeah, no, I didn't really participate much with Jeopardy, but like just even like I obviously knew who he was, even despite the fact that I didn't even watch his show. It was crazy. It's like he kind of headed a whole generation of like game show hosts and all this stuff, because you see Jeopardy's been around for over 3 decades, since before he even started hosting it. And it's kind of like he brought that game show host, like that whole status to another level. So I think his death meant a lot more to a lot of people, especially those inside the industry, and just in terms of what he meant to that whole category of shows.
Yeah, when I was younger, I didn't really watch it. I was more of a Family Feud child, still am. And but it is interesting, Quigs, like you were saying, like the reliability of it and like just the consistency that is just all of a sudden changed is very like alters some people's lives of just like a typical show they watch, even if it's minor. So it is very interesting. And I know there's talks about already finding a new host for Jeopardy. Do you think there's a good time for that? Is it too early? Is it too soon? What do you guys think?
I think you should probably let the remaining episodes, because I think they said he has like 30 episodes that are going to run through Christmas, and then that's it. So probably let those episodes run and then look for a new host.
I think
Yeah.
since the last episode is airing on Christmas, I can see like in the new year, like in 2021, that being a really good time to pick a new host. And I will say, if it's not Ken Jennings, I'll be angry.
I think that they should definitely wait a while, maybe even to the new year, like Quigs was saying. And I mean, definitely if they have more episodes pre-filmed with him, then they should wait till they've ran those out and let his legacy really run its course, because he did put the work that he put into those, like the same amount of work that he put into all the other ones. So it wouldn't be fair to just cut it short and start putting out episodes with a new host just yet, I don't think.
Yeah, it's definitely a big switch. It's very sad. He was a legend in, these game shows. But we'll see what happens if he starts, and if someone new starts next year. Speaking of announcing a new host, Joe Biden has been elected as the President of the United States. Most individuals have been highly invested in this year's election. So a lot of you guys and people watching probably know a lot about what's going on. But what some people may not know is that Joe Biden and his family are bringing 2 pets into the White House. They're German Shepherds named Champ and Major is actually the first rescue dog to live in the White House. And these 2 dogs definitely contrast the previous president, Donald Trump, who was the first president in 100 years to not have a dog in the White House. So I'll ask you guys, do you think whether or not a president owns a dog reflects their character at all? Quigs, I'll start with you.
Big time. I think earlier, actually, my mom said something about like, she was like, if my dog doesn't trust you, I don't trust you. So I think like there's something about like 100 years and every president's had a dog. And Trump, I mean, just get a dog and let somebody else take care of it, like rescue a dog. There's something about it. Like, I don't think it reflects poorly necessarily that he doesn't have a dog, but it's like that he didn't get a dog. Just rescue a dog and have it in the White House. It seems to be the right thing to do.
There is something about it. Like, he's a very non-conventional president, and you even look at just what he's doing right now. He's not conceding the election, where you can go back and watch all these presidential candidates. Every one of them did a concession speech, and he hasn't done it. He's still saying that he won the election. And something as simple as having a pet, when every other president had a pet, it does show something about who he is as a person.
I think not having a dog, I mean, definitely shows him as like someone, like, because dogs and cats, like, whichever one you like, at least owning one, it shows that you care about something like other than yourself. And I know that he has his family and everything, and like I think like that could be a whole nother argument in itself. But like when you get a pet and everything, it's kind of like you don't expect anything in return from that pet. That pet's not getting you anything. You really just buy animals to care for them and to like have like something to be there for you, like really regardless of anything. But it is kind of struck me as odd that he didn't have the desire to really get a pet when there was nothing holding him back. It could have been financial reasoning or anything like that. So really, I don't know what's up with him not having a dog. there's really no reason. Like he could have hundreds of dogs if he wanted. But why don't you at least have one?
Yeah, it seems like it's more like he'd have to spend time with the pet, and it doesn't seem like that's in his interests at all to do that.
No, it doesn't make him money. Why would he do that?
Yeah, he says that it seems phony to walk a dog on the White House lawn. Those are his words. So that's very interesting.
What? It's a beautiful lawn.
Sounds like a quote.
I mean, you could watch like Obama's dog Bo just like frolic through the lawn, and it was beautiful. It's just like
Beautiful, it's
one
not
more
phony.
thing that Trump couldn't give us.
Right. And I feel like just having a pet, it like humanizes like their personality kind of and like their character, which I think is what's interesting, that it does kind of reflect it. It kind of like softens this like big political image that these presidents have. So it's just like, I think it does reflect character a bit, even if it's just a dog, but reflects character. So yeah, we have the first rescue dog in the White House. Congratulations to Major Biden. Speaking of first, let's talk about Joe Biden's vice president, Kamala Harris, who has many firsts when moving into the White House. Dan, could you tell us a little about that?
Well, Kamala Harris was personally for me the biggest story along with this whole election. I mean, like with Joe Biden is everything. He was the vice president before, and it's kind of just following like a lot of the decade long stories of presidents. It's just like an older white man and everything. It's not very groundbreaking, but then like with Kamala Harris, like her being elected into the White House, first female ever elected into the White House, which is huge. It was something that Hillary hoped to do back in the 2016 election, but unfortunately was unable to do. And then there was also the fact that she was the first vice president of color in the White House. She was the first Indian American vice president. And it's really just like that shone through to me more than anything else in this election, because if you want to talk about like turning page back to the progress we were making under Obama and everything, then we needed to be extremely progressive in that. And I think that really like represented a big step in the right direction. And so really, I just like want to ask everyone like what the Kamala Harris election means to you personally, and like if you really think that that's what we need in terms of going in the right direction for this country.
I think we are going in the right direction, and just based on all the attention that she's gotten, I think she's almost gotten more or on par as equal attention as Joe Biden has during this election. I was watching election coverage on election night and the night after that, and I kept noticing an ad where they were talking about a podcast that she was there. They were going to go over her life and how she rose to this position, and I was like, I wonder why they're doing that now, considering she hasn't even been elected yet as vice president. And I just think it's because she like checks all those boxes of being a woman, being black, being a minority, and it's good that she looks like she's going to lead the way for others like her to be able to become president and vice president. It seems like she might become president herself.
Um, I'll say I haven't always been Kamala's hugest supporter, just because there's aspects of her political career that don't really line up with my own morals. Like she's very law and order, and she obviously has a big background in the police. But other than that, I'm feeling good. It feels so good to have a woman in the White House who isn't just somebody's wife. And usually I really would have a problem with the fact that like she's a police officer and we are seeing like the corrupt nature of that institution, but like it doesn't hurt the feeling that much to finally have a woman of color in the White House. Feels
Yeah,
really
I
good.
think it's great to have a woman. Like she's even been, you know, posting, and she's like, I want like little girls like me to look up to me and know, like, and listen that they can do it too, and they can get to where I am too. And I know a lot of people are already talking about her maybe being president in the future, and there's a lot of mixed feelings. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love that she obviously she has a past. A lot of politicians do, but like you said, it does feel better that she's a woman and she's a person of color and a minority. So I think it's really progressive for the nation. And I know Biden made it a point to choose a woman for as his vice president, which is wonderful. So yeah, we've talked about looking into the future a lot with these topics. So let's come back to the present and talk about what's going on right now, where Donald Trump is possibly in the process of staging a coup. Quigs, can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think we all know basically Trump's just like, quote, I won this election by a lot. He's not really accepting results. But what I'm really interested in is, how do you guys feel about this? Like, how is this uncertainty with this possible coup affecting you? How is it affecting the people around you? Is it like a conversation that you're having with people? Because I know personally, I don't really know anybody who supports Trump. Like, everybody that I'm around is just kind of like, okay, let's not let this happen. Joe Biden's going to be president. This is just like a silly little blip of him not being able to accept it. But I don't know, are the people around you more serious about it? What are you guys feeling?
I haven't met anyone personally that seriously believes there is any sort of coup or election fraud. I mean, like you said, a lot of my friends don't support Trump either. But I mean, even in the like small percentage of people that I do know that do and like keep tabs on if I follow them on social media or anything, none of them have been extremely outspoken about it. And I really think that they kind of are like mirroring Trump in that regard. Like, you have the couple of his supporters that will show up at the polling booths and stand out there with flags and guns and chant "stop the count" or "keep the count going," whatever works best for that night. But like, really, it's just like, besides those few, and it's just like the president himself won't even come out and face the nation. He's only made two addresses really since the election on camera. One of them where he falsely claimed victory, and the other one where he just claimed the whole thing was a fraud. But I mean, for him to not be claiming that public limelight that he so desperately craves all the time is definitely out of character for him. And I think that that really does a lot of damage to both his support base and his argument.
I think once January 20th comes, I think he's going to leave willingly. I don't think he's going to try to stay in office because he doesn't have any power. What is he going to do? He lost. The numbers are right there in front of him. So he doesn't have to say that he lost, but he did. And one way or another, I think he's just gonna leave.
But are you guys worried about his supporters, who definitely have guns and thoughts happening?
I am.
Not really, no.
Oh, I've been a little concerned because I know that he has, there's still notions of the KKK in our country. There's still hidden societies of it. There's his Proud Boys who have said, like, they're going to kill people if he loses. Like, I've seen it before. Whether those are, just them exaggerating or just making random claims, not sure. But they've definitely said it. And Trump is powerful because of his money, I feel like, for the most part. Like, money can be dangerous, and he can in some ways get what he wants, which is why, like, if he does, like, he is trying to say it's fraud and everything, I don't think he will go through with it. I don't think he'll be able to, like, convince the Supreme Court, and, like, I don't think he'll be president, nothing like that. But it is interesting how much power he still has because of how much money he still has. That's what's a little concerning to me, but I have hope for the most part.
Yeah.
I think he would have done more already if he was actually serious about it being fraud. I just don't think he wants to come off looking I don't know what the word for it, like a loser basically. He doesn't want to admit that he lost.
Definitely doesn't want to look like a loser. We know that.
Yeah.
threw out a lot of baseless claims, and really is just like trying to like somebody described it as like casting out like a large net and just trying to like catch any single fish that he could. Like it's just like not, he's just looking for any single discrepancy that he can find, even if it's not going to make a small amount of votes, just that it will seed down to his supporters' minds. I think like I've definitely been joking with my friends about like when Trump leaves office, he's gonna like start a cult, and like he's gonna have like his own, like he's gonna still have MAGA rallies and everything. And like, I mean, it's a joke to us now, but it's like funny and scary that it doesn't seem that far sighted. Like it doesn't seem that out of my like mind that he would do something like that.
He could run in 2024 also.
He could do that.
I feel
I
like
think
by
he
that
will run in
time,
2024.
I feel like by that time enough people have reflected on what happened the past 4 years, like, and be like, oh, I see what happened. It didn't go too well. But hopefully not. That's a whole nother topic. It's just scary to think about. But I know people making jokes about him like chaining himself to the White House and refusing to leave. And I think it's pretty funny. It's like people want to see that kind of. Um, anyway, so we talked about a lot today. Like I said, it was a very historical week, 2 weeks, year, obviously. It's a lot to talk about, and it's still not over until, you know, Joe Biden's laying in his bed with his dogs in that White House. So there's a lot more to unravel with this election, and I hope everyone enjoyed today's episode. I'm Rachel, here with Quigs, Dan, and Nate. I hope everyone has a great week.